Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer. Served up by Wendy's on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan. Download the Wendy's app today.
It is that time again as we broadcast live from the Wisconsin State Fair right here by the Expo Building, looking at the Milk House. I'm telling you, man, that Milk House is something else, man. It is something else. Get that root beer milk over there. That root beer milk is delicious. It's $1, but it's a decent-sized cup, right? I mean, you're not going to shot glass that thing. It's pretty good, so make sure you check that out as well. Coming up this hour, Charlie Sounds of the Day at 3:40. Kurt Hogue, Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel Brewers beat writer, will join us coming up here at 4:20. We'll get a Green and Gold update coming up at 4. Before we get to the Green and Gold update, though, how about this? The Packers have signed back cornerback Corey Ballantyne and released cornerback Gregory Jr., who did okay at the family night that we just saw over the weekend. Ballantyne being brought back, that is probably not good news for Kalen King, would be the first name that comes to mind, Charlie, for me.
Maybe, but also Kalen King's looked pretty good through training camp, as all the reports have said. He's looked good before training camp. I feel like that's a guy you would want to give some kind of opportunity to. He's still very young. He was a guy who was a projected much higher pick than he actually ended up getting drafted. I mean, there's a lot of promise to that player still.
Okay, so this is my thing. How many cornerbacks do you think are going to be kept on the NFL roster going into the season?
Probably between 5 and 6. So one of those two. 6,
5
probably.
to 6.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say it's 6 cornerbacks, right? So you've got Hobbs right now, that's 1. Valentine is 2. Keyshawn Nixon is 3. Now, I don't know where you're going to put Bullard, but I know Melton, they're saying, is a corner right now, right? Corner/receiver. So if you're saying that's a corner, that's 4, and you're keeping him for those purposes. Then you have Ballantyne, that's 5. And then if 6 is Kalen King, is that where we're at with corners right now for this team?
Probably. I mean, I can't really think of anybody else that has even remotely deserved it up to that level like a Kalen King, and I'm not saying he's deserved it that much, but for a 6th spot, yeah, I think he's done enough and had his name talked about enough to earn that.
Because I think that is something to keep an eye on as well here when we talk about the Green Bay Packers, as far as who gets essentially eliminated by adding him back to the roster, Corey Ballantyne. Obviously, with Jaire Alexander gone, you wanted another veteran corner, if at all possible. And if you look at the cornerback position, like we were just talking about here, I'm looking at a thing from PackerNews.com right now. Valentine, Isaiah Dunn, I doubt it. Kamal Haddon, maybe. Gregory Jr. is gone already. Keyshawn Nixon. Micah Robinson got beat pretty good in that one. Kazir Brown, Tyron Herring, Nickelbacks, Nate Hobbs, Javon Bullard, Kalen King, Jonathan Baldwin. So if Bullard is considered a corner, that's 6 without Kalen King if they keep Bo Melton. If they keep Bo Melton at corner, that leaves Kalen King as the odd man out, is my take on this, if they consider Bullard a corner.
Probably, but I think the other thing is we have to wonder, is Bo Melton really going to stick around as a cornerback on this team? I know they're trying it. I know they seem really excited about it. But at the same time, like we've talked about before, this also seems like a little bit of a desperation move to keep him on the roster by any means possible. And I think that also comes with the standard of, if you don't figure it out after a little while, if you're just good enough to basically be a practice squad player, what is the value in keeping you on this roster too?
That's true. Yeah, you're right about that. And that's going to be something that the Packers have to discuss at the end of the day, as far as how important are special teams. I mean, you're paying the special teams coordinator, $1 million, Bisaccia? He's making a lot of money. So you're investing in that already. You're already going to invest in certain guys that are special teams players, that are linebackers, right, that are fourth tight ends. You're doing it in other positions already, Charlie. It's just a matter of how big of a deal is Bo Melton to this special teams unit.
I think that's the biggest question. How important do you think he is to not just being a part of it, but leading that special teams unit as well? I know Brandon McManus is this veteran, but he's still a kicker. And I love Mason Crosby. I love having him on the station. But from my experience, the kicker isn't always the most respected position on the field. I think sometimes these depth cornerbacks that are just balling out on special teams get their voices heard a little bit more than maybe a kicker or a punter would in that unit, or even a coach in that unit. So I think if you feel like he can be a leader in that squad and can be valuable enough on special teams, he does deserve that spot for sure.
So again, if you're just tuning in, some news here on the Green Bay Packers. They bring back Corey Ballantyne, the cornerback who had been here for the last couple of years. Ballantyne back in that cornerback room. And I think if you're Jeff Hafley, you're very excited by that prospect of having another veteran back there versus relying on inexperienced guys when you break camp.
Definitely. You want the veterans around, especially in what everybody wants to call a young team. I know experience-wise, yes, they're young, but right now they look like a lot of players that are playing above their age. And because of that, you want veteran players that are of that age to help kind of give them a framework to work with as they continue to play above what I think most people expected them to be able to do.
This is the other part about this. We're going to talk about Brewers here, but we're just going to flip the topics that are on the rundown, I think. The other part about this is you need pass rush to make these cornerbacks look good, right? So the more pass rush you get, the better off you are. In fact, I saved this tweet from the other day. It was yesterday, I think. You ever follow this account, First Round Mock? He's a former NFL scout. Danny Kelly is his name. And he put out this tweet. The average time to throw in the NFL last season was 2.42 seconds to 3.14 seconds. That's next-gen stats. As a former NFL scout, I put a stopwatch to see how long Caleb Williams holds the ball on this play. And this play was put out by somebody else on social media. And Caleb Williams held the ball for 5.38 seconds. 5.38 seconds.
That's
right?
nuts.
And never threw it. It took the sack. So from the idea of if these cornerbacks are going to look good, we have to get home and hit the quarterback. We have to put pressure on the quarterback, so forth, right? That's what this is all about. So in order to help out a Ballantyne, a Valentine, a Hobbs, a Nixon, a Bullard, whoever is playing corner, in order to help those guys out, you have to get home. This was put on Twitter, and I guess I hadn't gone back and really looked at it and paid attention to it. We've been critical of Rashan Gary in the past, but I never really went back and looked at it. Do you realize that Rashan Gary is entering year 7 and he's never had a 10-sack season, Charlie?
I have realized this. This is something that's been bothering me since we were talking about the draft and we looked into his stats to see if we think they should draft a defensive end. That's something that's been like stuck in my head.
So you paid him all this money, a significant amount of money coming off of that first deal, and he's never reached 10 sacks. And we never talk about the aspect of, is Rashan Gary overpaid? Is Rashan Gary a bust for the amount of money they're paying him? They did that to Chris Middleton every year of Chris Middleton's career after he signed his first deal in Milwaukee. Everybody said Chris Middleton was overpaid. Dude never caught a fair break at any point, right? Middleton was always overanalyzed.
Definitely.
Now here's Rashan Gary, who's never had 10 sacks in his career, and he's getting paid like a top pass rusher in the league.
I think the problem is, and the reason people would criticize a Chris Middleton maybe over a Rashan Gary, is that when Chris Middleton got his contract, I think most people felt like he did earn that contract. He played well enough for this team to get to that point of earning that. And then he just didn't play up to what they expected from what they've seen before and what that contract said. The problem with the Rashan Gary is I don't think people really blame Rashan Gary for getting that contract. I think they blame probably the Packers more so. So it's not really a question of, why isn't Rashan Gary producing? Why isn't Rashan Gary doing more? He's doing exactly what he's done. I think most Packers fans realize that. It's more frustrating that they're willing to spend the money there on a player that's been doing what he does all the time than maybe on some other positions in free agency when we expect him to make splashes, or in trades when we expect them to make splashes. And instead, you're just paying players like Rashan Gary. That's not Rashan Gary's fault. That's the Packers' fault.
Well, it's not Chris Middleton's fault either that they gave him all that money. He signed the contract. If I offered you $1 million a year to do what you do, you'd sign it, right? Then the next boss would come in and go, we're paying a producer in Milwaukee $1 million a year. What in the world were they thinking when they gave this dude $1 million a year? But you're going to sign that contract. You're going to say, absolutely, I'll take $1 million a year every day of the week. So I find it hard to criticize Rashan Gary for signing his contract. I find it hard to criticize anybody for signing a contract as a player because they're just trying to make a living like everybody else. They're trying to make as much money as they can, regardless if the outside world thinks they're worth it or not.
I think
go ahead.
What I'm saying is that with like a Chris Middleton, he got paid after, like, if you're going to use the comparison of me, like me being in this career for 10 years and I'm a host now and I'm getting paid $1 million.
Right.
And then all of a sudden after I get paid $1 million, I'm all of a sudden back to being like a guy who's a year and a half into his first job versus a Rashan Gary who kind of seems like me right at this point, and I get paid $1 million based off of like what I've done in my past career, but I continue to keep doing that. You can't be mad at the producer, like you're saying, for taking that money, but you can be mad at the company or be confused with the company for allowing themselves to give him that money.
Correct. Yes, absolutely. So that's why I say you can be mad at the Packers, you can be mad at the Bucks, and whoever for overpaying players at the end of the day. But all this talk about Lucas Van Ness has to do better. Lucas Van Ness has to do something. How about Rashan Gary live up to his contract and get double-digit sacks for the first time in his career? How about that? Nobody's talking about that. Right? Everybody's talking about Lucas Van Ness. I'm guilty. We've been doing it the whole offseason. Lucas Van Ness isn't going to do anything. Why we put all of our eggs in the basket of Lucas Van Ness? Fair point. But for the amount of money Rashan Gary's making, he should be getting 12, 13 sacks a year, right? I mean, that's the type of numbers we're looking for. I don't need him to be Trey Hendrickson. It'd be nice to get 17 and a half sacks back-to-back years. That'd be great. I don't even need him to be Aiden Hutchinson of the Lions. I don't even be that good. But I need him to live up to the numbers that he's getting paid for. I need him to get double-digit sacks. I need for him to get 11, 12 sacks. You know, another 3 sacks a year, depending on when they happen, could be relatively big for this defense, Charlie.
Well, and if he gets another 3 sacks a year, another 4 sacks a year, I think just by transition, Lucas Van Ness is going to add a couple sacks into his stat total too. Kenny Clark is going to probably get a little bit better of a pass rush. Might see some of these other young players on that defensive front make some plays that you normally wouldn't expect them to make because of Rashan Gary is just adding 3 more sacks to his stat line.
Gary has never had 10 sacks in a season. How concerning is it to you as a fan, and is this the year that it finally happens? That's the question on the table. The Nicolay Law Fan Talk and text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. It's out up with a recorded voice message there on the Odyssey app. Facebook and Twitter at The Fan Milwaukee. Watch us on YouTube, baby. We are streaming live on YouTube. Find us at The Fan Milwaukee. Check out our shorts. Check out our videos. All that fun stuff up on YouTube for The Fan Milwaukee. Of course, Pack a Day Radio Show, weekday mornings, Andy Herman, 8 to 9. The Mason Crosby Show, the Packers' all-time leading scorer, has the radio show now from 9 to 11 with Mitch Thunder Nellis. And then this show, of course, in the afternoon, 2 to 5. And then the big old hunk of love who is out here already. An hour and 45 minutes before showtime. You want to talk about being prepared, making sure he's not late, making sure he's on time to meet all the ladies. That is Tommy Wirtz. He is out here ready to roll. He'll be out here 5 to 6 getting you ready for Brewers and Braves tonight with the leadoff show powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. 1 hour before every game. I'm telling you, there's not a pregame show that you're going to find in this market that covers as much ground as Tommy Wirtz does, including detailed explanations of what happened in the minor leagues from the night before. I'm sure there will be lots of talk about Made and Pena coming up to the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers, and when are we all going to go see a Timber Rattlers game? All of that coming up tonight from 5 until 6. Speaking of those Milwaukee Brewers coming up next, how big do you think it is for this Brewers team to have a 1 seed in the playoffs? Is it as big of a deal or bigger of a deal than, say, the Bucks having the 1 seed in the NBA playoffs? Is it bigger than that? No? Is it bigger than the Packers having a 1 seed in the NFL playoffs? We'll talk about that coming up next. Is Wisconsin Sports Daily served up by Wendy's as we broadcast live from the 1250 AM at 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook here at the Wisconsin State Fair, broadcasting outside the Expo building, looking at the Milk Time for your fan weather forecast brought to you by Utke Heating and Cooling. 77 degrees, fair skies right now. Air quality alert in effect until noon, until tomorrow. Low tonight of 63. There it is. That song is fitting for one Charlie Usen, our hero here at The Fan, producer of this show. Catch him Saturday mornings with Jack Pembroke, 9 to 11, Wisconsin Sports Weekend. If you missed it this last weekend, check it out on your Odyssey app, iHeart app, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your favorite podcast at. Make sure to go back and listen to Wisconsin Sports Weekend. If you want to see what they look like and check out the reactions and all that stuff, go on YouTube. You can watch the show there as well. Search The Fan Milwaukee. All of the shows are there each and every time. We're out here broadcasting live from the Wisconsin State Fair. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer with you. Talking about the Milwaukee Brewers, they are the 1 seed as we currently sit, with the best record in baseball, best record in the National League, up 2 games on the Chicago Cubs at this point. They start a series against the Braves tonight. Again, the leadoff show powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook with Tommy Wirtz tonight here at the State Fair from 5 until 6. Get you ready for first pitch of that one. The question on the table right now is just how important do you think this number 1 seed is for the Brewers in the playoffs, for them to have that success they want, to get to a World Series for the first time since 1982, to get to that point? That's where the end goal is, right? It's not just making the playoffs, it's going back to the World Series. How important do you think that 1 seed truly is for baseball? Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Facebook and Twitter at The Fan Milwaukee. Sound off with a recorded voice message on the Odyssey app. Let me explain to you how this works in Major League Baseball for those of you that may or may not know. So the way this is going to work, wild card weekend for Major League Baseball, it looks like it's going to be Tuesday, September 30th to Thursday, October 2nd. All right? The 4 seed will get the 5 seed. The 3 will get the 6 seed in each league, American League and National League. Then the winner of the 3 versus 6 will get the 2 seed. The 4 versus 5 seed will end up with the 1 seed, right? So the first 2 seeds essentially bye to the divisional round. So as long as the Brewers are in that 1 or 2 seed, they bye to the divisional round, which is great. But the difference is if you're that 1 seed, you get the winner of the 4-5 matchup versus the winner of potentially the 3 and the 6 matchup at this point. Also remember that wild card round-wise means it's not division winner, correct, Charlie? So you might have the second best record in baseball and not even be a 2 seed.
Maybe not, but I think at the same time, with this Milwaukee Brewers team and how well that they've kind of lengthened this gap between the rest of the teams in their division, I find it really hard for the Chicago Cubs, the way that they're playing right now, the way that they went about their trade deadline, which Jeff Passan called the Pittsburgh Pirates trade deadline of disappointment today on ESPN as well, that they just don't seem to have the same kind of mindset and the mentality that this Milwaukee Brewers team has. With both these teams not really doing a lot at the deadline, the way the Brewers have gone about it was with a lot of confidence. You've seen their players come out and play hot, play like they were disrespected by everybody that was talking about this team. The way the Cubs have kind of come out playing is just mediocre. It's not what we saw at the beginning of the season from that team, and a lot of questions are being asked about their future and about their offseason already, where right now the Brewers fans aren't even looking at the offseason because the postseason's right there.
Yeah, absolutely right. But again, the way the seeding works is it's division winners and the wild card. So the Brewers or the Cubs could have the second best record in the National League, but be second in the Central, and then not get a bye through that first round. That other division winner would get the bye. So right now, that other division winner would be the Dodgers. The Phillies would essentially be the 3 seed at that point. So if you were to hold on to that 1 seed, you would get the Phillies in the second round, providing they won against the 6 seed, versus potentially getting the 4-5 matchup of the 2 wild cards. Now, in this case, that would be even worse for the Brewers, because if the Cubs were the 4 seed at this point, playing the next best wild card, which now would be the Mets, it would be Cubs, Mets in the wild card, with the Brewers getting the winner of that. And I'm not sure that's a great draw as a 1 seed at this point, Charlie, having to deal with either one of those 2 teams.
No, probably not. But I also think just having that first round bye, being able to kind of prepare for these teams, we've seen what the Brewers can do against teams that are in the same caliber or better than them. They seem to play up to their level. And now, like I talked about on Thunder at the Fair, they seem to be destroying the teams that are below them too, which gives me a lot of confidence as somebody watching this Brewers team and cheering for them, that they can go out there and be more confident against these better teams as well and more consistently beat those better teams.
KJ in West Allis, you're next on the Nicolay Law Fan Talk and Text Line here with Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer with you. What's going on, KJ?
Hey, what's happening, Sparky? Good afternoon. Question, first of all. When was the last time that the Brewers had a first or second seed?
I don't know. That's a good question. Let me look. Let me see if I can find out. Go ahead, though, KJ, with your question.
Okay, well, yeah, my other comments would be, it would be important if they got the first or second seed. I think they play well at home. However, aren't they a top 5 team record-wise on the road as well? So, I mean, they play pretty well on the road, right? So
yeah, they're 31-24 on the road right now.
Right, so that's probably top 4, isn't it?
That is the most wins on the road in the National League. Nobody else has 31 wins on the road right now.
There you go.
And actually, if I take it a step farther, nobody in baseball has 31 wins on the road right now.
Okay. So I do think they're more aggressive, especially with the run game at home versus being on the road. So that would be important. Also, I think they pitch a little bit better at home. They're more accustomed and more comfortable, if you will, at home playing, and they're in front of their own crowd and their own fans.
KJ, do you think, KJ, hold on a second. Do you think a crowd makes more of an influence in an NBA playoff game, an NFL playoff game, or a baseball playoff game? Where do you think the crowd has the biggest impact?
I think the crowd has the biggest impact in baseball. I do. The NBA would be number 2. And what was the third one you
NFL. NFL.
Yeah, the NFL. Yeah. I think the NBA probably come in number 2. NFL, they're all pretty close. But I think baseball, especially for a team like the Brewers, would be very essential in starting off their run to the
All right, KJ, thanks for the call, man. Come on out, State Fair. Come say hi out at the Expo building, looking at the Milk House. Thanks for the call. I guess I'm going to disagree with KJ here. I think you have a bigger impact in the National Football League from a home field advantage perspective as far as screwing up, quarterbacks being able to communicate with their offensive players, screwing up defensive players, being able to communicate with their own defensive players, yelling across the line. I don't think there is any type of huge home court advantage in basketball per se, because all these stadiums are for the most part the same size. It doesn't really affect much at all. Other than it could change, anytime there's a crowd cheering for their home team, it affects momentum to a certain degree for sure in any sport. So you obviously have that. When we get to Major League Baseball, I think it's similar to the NBA, where I don't think there's a gigantic influence as far as the crowd and what it means, because there really is no verbal communication per se amongst players of what they're doing. It is a mano-a-mano game. When you're hitting, you get the sign from the third base coach, he ain't talking to you. The one area where it could make a difference would be in the postseason with those communication things that they have for the pitchers in their hat, where maybe they can't hear it. And then they have to go to regular signs or whatever the case may be. So maybe from that perspective, it has influence. But other than that, I don't think there's a huge home field advantage when it comes to baseball or basketball.
I would beg to differ, I guess. I think there's definitely something to crowd noise. And especially in baseball, I think you look at the situations most of these players are in, whether you're the pitcher or the batter, you're kind of on an island by yourself in a lot of those moments. Sometimes the pitcher has the catcher, but I think a lot of times he's kind of locked into the moment, isn't really worried about what his catcher's thinking, or so just listening to the pitch call and then just going with it. I think when it is so loud, there's a gap between certain players. There's one half of the players that just can ignore it and block it out and pull the Pat Murphy and say they never heard anything, can't hear anything. And I think there's another half of the players that hear every bit of noise that's coming through, and it just throws off their entire just cool and everything that they're doing. And I think that's where it comes into play. Also, the last time the Brewers were a number 1 seed in the playoffs was 2018.
When they went to the NLCS and lost.
Correct.
So the last time they were won was 2018, which, again, I don't know how much you read into that one way or the other. I do know this, and you can call me scared or call me whatever you want. I don't want the damn Cubs in the divisional round. I want nothing to do with the Cubs in the divisional round. If it's the Cubs and Brewers in the NLCS for a chance to go to the World Series, fine. If that's what it has to be, we'll go. But I don't want them in the divisional round. I'd much rather have them deeper into the playoffs. Let the Brewers get a series in and play, because I think there is something to that whole idea of momentum coming from the wild card to the divisional round and carrying that through and feeling good about yourself versus sitting at home or having practices at American Family Field waiting to actually start their series. I think there is some type of a lull that goes into that, Charlie.
Probably, but with this Brewers team and how often in the past 5 seasons they've just been bounced early, I think you want to get any kind of advantage you can get. And I know with this Brewers team as well, what we've seen, especially since the All-Star break, that type of break hasn't really affected them. They seem to have this system, this way of playing baseball that is, for the most part, as consistent as they possibly can be with the talent that's on the roster. And I think because they're maybe not the most talented overall roster and that they're playing through this system, I think that helps them a lot more in some of these situations. It's kind of like the Indiana Pacers, where you are just constantly running this type and style of basketball that no matter how you're really feeling, the system should carry you through any given game.
Here's Charlie Usit, Steve Sparky Pfeiffer with you. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's out here at the Wisconsin State Fair. And speaking of Wendy's, man, we got something going on here, right? The Meal of Misfortune, devised by Wednesday Addams, is available now at Wendy's, where you must surrender to your fate. It comes with rest in 10-piece nuggets, small, cursed, crispy fries, and a small Raven's Blood Frosty. What? A Raven's Blood Frosty? And, of course, 2 of 4 mysterious dips of dread to up the torment. I'm getting concerned reading this. Are you sure you sent me the right copy?
I did. I don't think I would make an evil read for you.
In Wednesday's words, it's pure torture and tribute to the suffering that awaits us all. I think you're messing with me. From the dips of dread, and the best part is you never know which you'll get. Each uniquely insufferable in its own torturous ways. It's got to be Wendy's. Watch Wednesday Season 2 only on Netflix. Available for limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's while supplies last. You know anything about what I just said?
A little bit. I've never seen the Wednesday show, but I know it's very popular. It's on Netflix. My mom likes it a lot.
Is it like super horror type thing?
It's the Addams Family, like Wednesday Addams. You know the Addams Family?
The Addams Family. Okay.
So it's like a spin-off series just about
Yeah. Okay, so that's not too over-the-top crazy. Nothing like that. Yeah, I could be able to watch that then. Yeah, I'm not a big horror flick guy or nothing like that. No, I'm not into that. Well, that's good. So there you go. I learned something new today. Not completely evil. Coming up next, Charlie Sounds of the Day. Top 3 clips from around the world of sports from today. That's straight ahead. Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Live from the 1250 AM at 105.7 FM, The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, out here at the Wisconsin State Fair, right outside the Expo building. Welcome back. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Live from the Wisconsin State Fair right outside the Expo building, right across from the Milk House. Talking Brewers, talking Packers. Now time for Charlie's Sounds of the Day.
What sound clips will Chicago Charlie pick today for Sparky? Will Sparky become enraged? Will laughter ensue? It's time for Charlie's Sound of the Day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's on The Fan.
All right, top 3 clips from around the world of sports. We do it every day at 3:40. Let's hear what our guy Charlie Usen has come up with for today. What do you got?
All right, first up, we're going to head over to the University of West Virginia, where head coach Rich Rodriguez of the football team was discussing how soft his players and his teams have been and what he thinks is wrong with them in the society.
No.
We're softer
Oh.
as a society. We're softer as athletes. We're, but that, I don't really necessarily blame anybody because everything they're going around is like, how do we make it easier for them? Everyone can make it easy instead of making things harder for them so they learn how to, to go through hard times. So that's what hard edge is. Hard edge, it's not a magical word you're going to wake up and have it. You're going to have, there's not one of you guys sitting in here, whatever, has not had some adversity or will have some adversity in your life. And so hopefully you have the mental hard edge, toughness to get through it, which you do, or have people around you do that. I think that's part of my responsibility to teach our guys this, and they got a long, successful life ahead of them. But not all is going to be strawberries and sunshine and roses and flowers. I told them, my dad was a coal miner. He worked in a coal mine. Had 1 week off a year, I think. Work all day in the coal mines, and you come home, you got stuff all over you, and then go work in the garden for 4 hours. And as I got older as a kid, I was a little kid, we worked in the garden a little bit. And then the older I got, the more garden we did. And the bigger the garden got. The older I got, the bigger the garden. I hated pulling weeds. I'd rather do anything than pull weeds. You ever pull weeds in a garden around the beans? It's miserable, absolutely miserable. I would play every sport. I don't care. We didn't even have lacrosse. So I'd lie and say, hey, I'm going to go play lacrosse or something, just so I could have. But I played every sport, so it wasn't to get out of the garden, but that was a side benefit. You know what I'm saying?
Can I say that I will be home pulling weeds tonight in our garden after this show is done, so I can relate to pulling weeds and how it's not fun and no.
All right.
At some point. Maybe that's what it was at the end of the day. And that's the thing that really amazes me is setting expectations for athletes and what those expectations should be, and then whether or not they're fair expectations. Is the bar too high? Is the bar too low? What really are expectations at the end of the day? And that's something we'll continue to discuss, I guess, kind of going forward here when we talk about the ways that we're going to continue going about this. Charlie, do you hear me back there in the studio?
Yep, I got you back now.
Good, I didn't know I was gone. So, all right, so we're still on YouTube. What do we have for the second clip of the day?
Next up, we are going to head over to the Miami Dolphins, their practice over there from this past week. And Tyreek Hill had some issue with the way Mike McDaniel was running his short yardage offense, and Mike McDaniel responded to Tyreek Hill. Here's both of them on the situation.
Take Devon out on third down. What? You want to? That's my honest opinion. If it's third and short, he's not a power back. I be telling him that in the locker room, but he a power back. I love Devon though, but if I'm being honest, like that's why you got Jalen Wright. That's why you got Ollie Gordon for those kind of situations.
I thought it was genius reporting by Tyreek, seeing how we had a short yardage period that very day that you guys were in attendance for, and his suggestion was, I guess, congruent with Coach Studesville. That's exactly how we repped the backs in that short yardage period that very day. But we thought it was funny that he reported the news that wasn't news on that practice day in that short yardage period that you guys were all there too for.
I don't necessarily disagree that I wouldn't play that dude in short yardage either. I think I'm pretty much with him. However, you should not be saying that necessarily to the media about your teammates, about how that dude shouldn't be out there in short line, goal line. He ain't big enough. We should be playing somebody else. I love Jalen Wright, the kid that played at Tennessee. I think he's a good running back. I got no problem with him. He is bigger than Devon Achane at this point, for sure. I don't think it's a smart play, though, necessarily to be telling the coaching staff how to be coaching the football team at the end of the day, Charlie.
No, probably not, especially a guy like Tyreek Hill who's had his issues, had his situations in the past with this kind of team, especially in this past year with the way he's handled himself and the way that he's handled being a leader on this team. This isn't the way you go about it. I don't think he can continue to do this moving forward and still expect to be seen as a leader or even a part of this Miami Dolphins team.
All right, let's go to the third clip that we have for today on Charlie's Sounds of the Day.
All right, last up here, we're going to head over to a minor league baseball game, the Portland Pickles, where they had an event where they allowed a random fan to participate in their game, be a part of their lineup in his first.
Did you say they're the Pickles?
The Portland Pickles, correct.
Portland Pickles. Okay, I learned something new today. Portland Pickles.
So as they let him go into the game, in his first at-bat of the game, he walked, stole a base, and scored a run later on in the bat. Later on in the game, he ended up doing this.
Payoff pitch, high fly ball, left center field. Are you kidding me? 4 letters, 1 word, gone.
So the guy that they just randomly picked hit a home run? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly what happened in that situation there. Yeah, it was pretty nuts, pretty insane.
They signed him after that? They give him a contract on the field?
They gave him a 1-day contract afterwards. So
how much did that pay?
I don't think it was anything. I think it was just kind of ceremonious, kind of like with the Milwaukee Brewers, or like when a random player would come back and re-sign with them for that 1 day.
Tommy Wirtz is out here, the big ol' hunk of love, and he just texted me sitting next to me. Former Packers punter John Ryan owns that Pickles baseball team, Charlie. That means we could get you out there to have a chance to take your swing. Or maybe Tommy Wirtz gets out there with his chance to take a swing at this. I mean, Tommy Wirtz, we got some footage of him, I think, of playing in the softball Mason Crosby Brouhaha softball slam We definitely have highlights of his defense for certain. Maybe we take the Tommy Wirtz highlight film from the Brouhaha event with Mason Crosby and Jordy Nelson. We send that to John Ryan, and maybe we get a one-day contract for Tommy Wirtz at the end of the day, Charlie.
That would be pretty cool. I think I would be definitely in favor of helping Tommy out like that. For sure.
I think that would be a lot of fun. See what Tommy Wirtz has. Okay, so we have to get to a couple other things here. That's it, right? Those are the 3 clips from the day?
That is the 3 clips, yep.
So I've told Mitch Thunder Nellis, when he does his Thunder at the Fair show weekdays during the fair from 11 to 2, and I always tell him, I said, listen, dog, I said, we got to talk sports, right? We got to focus on sports. Don't get too distracted by the state fair and everything else going on. But can I just say something? I'm going to give a pro tip here, and Tommy Wirtz is sitting here with an hour and 10 minutes before his show, and maybe he can take advantage of it. I was watching Fox 6 last, what day was it? Thursday, I think it was, Thursday night. I think it was Thursday night. Watching Fox 6. And they're out here at the fair, right? And they got their TV cameras out here, and they're walking around, and they're talking to random people, asking them, what they like to do at the fair and so forth. So, like for me, I like the Mexican corn in a bowl, right? You get the corn, the butter, the cayenne pepper and all of that. That always has a huge long line. That's right here on the main thoroughfare behind the stands to the Milwaukee Mile. That's one of my favorites. But this lady went on Fox 6, and this lady said, hey, there is a sirloin tips truck that's out here at the Wisconsin State Fair that you all have got to try. It is unbelievable. You get mashed potatoes, you get onions, you get peppers, you get sirloin tips. It's unbelievable. It's out of this world. They go to this lady and they go, okay, where is it? Well, I can't tell you because I want to go back and get some more, so I can't tell you where it is. So Friday, we came back to the Wisconsin State Fair, me and the family, after I'd been here on Friday afternoon, and I went on a hunt to find the sirloin tip truck, Charlie.
Did you find it?
I went on a hunt. I found it.
All right. What'd you think?
I'd eat there the rest of my life every day. Every single day, rest of my life, I'd eat at that damn truck.
I love it.
It's $20, right? So it's not cheap necessarily. It's $20. But, man, they give you a big old container, and it is a ton of sirloin tips, and they give you, free samples. A ton of sirloin tips, potatoes, onions, peppers, all in this thing. I don't see how they're making money, to be honest with you. I think they got to be losing money with all the sirloin tips that they're putting into this thing. And I said, hey, man, I heard about you on TV. This dude's like, Fox 6, right? And I was like, yeah. He's like, that lady came back and ordered 2 more of those things before she left the fair that night. She brought them home with her. She got them to go and brought them home and heated them up at home. If I had a tip of where and what to do, that would be my first tip. My second tip would be something that my 9-year-old finally did for the first time after being scared the rest of his life about doing this. And I don't know if you and I talked about this last year or not. The aqua massage inside the expo building. By far, love it so much. And you're laughing. You don't get it, right?
I don't.
You don't understand
I don't.
Right. So Friday night, we walk into the expo building, and he's like, all right, I'm in. I want to do this, Dad. Because I love it. I do it every year. I want to do it. All right. So they had a kids special in there. So it's $10. You get 4 minutes. And what it is, it's like a suntan machine, right? Where it comes down on top of you. They've got a hole cut out where your face goes, so you look essentially at the ground. They put headphones on your ears because it gets loud. And then this water just beats down on top of you and gives you a massage back and forth. My 9-year-old was like, I was a couple minutes away from falling asleep and being done. Now he wants to come back every day to do that aqua massage, Charlie.
I'll have to give it a shot, I suppose. Next time I'm there, next time I'm at the fair, I'll go in. I'm not going to like it. I know already I'm not going to like it. I don't like it.
Well, you can't go in so negative. You're that's like him. I know I'm not going to like it. I'm not going to do it. And 4 years later, he finally tried it and realized how much he's actually been missing.
I don't know, man. I think it's different.
Do you not like massages?
Not entirely. I don't like random people feeling me or touching me or
This
anything.
is perfect.
I
Nobody's
know,
feeling you.
But also, you're in an enclosed space with like water going all around you. Like I don't like that at all. I don't like. I'm a bigger guy. I don't like being in tight spaces, and then I also don't like roller coasters or anything because I don't
roller coasters either.
I don't like feeling like I'm not in control of the situation. That's my I need to have that control, and if I'm stuck in a tight little spot with nowhere to go and flying around, I can't stand that.
Can I just point something out to you? For somebody that doesn't like not being in control, you produced for Thunder the last 4 days or 3 shows. Thunder at the fair. You're not in. You have no control for those 3 hours every day.
He listens to me sometimes. Sometimes he lets me have a little bit of
You have no control. That dude drives wherever he wants to drive, and you're coming along for the ride whether you want him to go there or not.
That's true. His ride is more it's a small world. It's not really like a roller coaster. So you just kind of bounce around to 18 billion different things and see a bunch of stuff, but then it's good. It's all right.
Get out of here with that stuff. I love It's a Small World, though. I'm all about It's a Small World. That's my favorite thing at Disney World. All right, coming up on the other side, Green and Gold update time brought to you by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Plus, we'll get to Kurt Hogue in the 4 o'clock hour. Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel Brewers beat writer joins us coming up at 4:20. Things that we missed on today's show coming up at 4:40. Potawatomi Sportsbook, 2 levels of goodness, right? 2,000 square foot center screen, over 30 sporting events at one time at the Potawatomi Sportsbook. They have huge 6 to 8 person booths. They have that second level where you can do business functions, you can have small parties, and now they announced last week they're going to have fantasy football drafts that your league can have at the Potawatomi Sportsbook right there on the second level. That's right, up to 14-person league. What do you get? Well, first, you get private access to the second floor, as does every member of your league, right? You have your own private elevator, so nobody else in the sportsbook can come up and be a part of your fantasy football draft other than the people in your league. Then they give you a smorgasbord of food to eat. Each person at the Potawatomi Sportsbook for the fantasy football draft gets 3 drink tickets to go along with that. You get a podium to where you can go up and make your picks. Poster boards, stickers, the whole deal. Check out the fantasy football draft package going on right now for the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sign up, pick your day, pick your time, and get your league involved. Go to Potawatomi.com/sportsbook. Potawatomi.com/sportsbook. My only thing on this is how many people are doing it via their laptop now and websites and cheating. Do you cheat in your league and use a website when you're doing your draft, Charlie?
No, I don't. I usually do my own draft. I'll get an analysis for my draft afterwards from one of those websites that breaks
so
down
you do an in-person draft where you are sitting in the same room and making picks
as often as I can. If I'm not in person, I'm still doing the draft. I'm still doing it on my phone wherever else I am.
Because see, this is my thing. If you're doing a draft, I'd say ESPN, CBS Sports, whatever service you're using, they're giving you best available. That's cheating. You don't have to do any studying. You don't have to do anything. You don't have literally nothing. I could take a fantasy football draft board, give it to anybody here at the Wisconsin State Fair, and say, okay, you're drafting in this position. Take best available. This is what you have to do. Sounds good. They have just as good a chance of winning as anybody else in that league does that actually knows what they're doing. But if you say no laptops allowed at the draft, let's go. You can bring magazines, paper, whatever you want, but no laptops allowed. We're making our picks in person. You got to keep track of who's gone and so forth, and go. I bet you a lot of results in a lot of fantasy football leagues would be completely different than what they normally are, Charlie.
I think I would have a better chance in most of my leagues then, and then not feel just helpless usually because other teams that don't know what they're doing are beating me.
Right. But see, that's what I'm saying. It's cheating at the end of the day. And we asked Austin Herdania, sportsbook manager over there at Potawatomi. I was like, hey, man, most of these dudes or females are going to bring laptops, right? So, and he's like, we're good. Wi-Fi-wise, we're good. Everybody can connect. It's going to have its own separate thing for the fantasy football draft, so everybody's going to be good. But if you think about it, if you really want to test and see how good and how smart people are in your league, tell them you're having the fantasy draft at the Potawatomi Sportsbook, no laptops, and let's see who comes out the best. Then you'll know who the smartest people are in the league, and now those other people will actually have to study and know something. And watch how many people will say, dude, I'm out. If that's how we're doing the draft, I'm out. I don't want to be in the league. I don't know it well enough to go do that. That's the crazy part. Yeah, websites are great, but in this instance, it's really dumbed down how smart you have to be to play fantasy sports. And that goes for baseball, that goes for basketball, that goes for all of them. You don't even have to be that smart to play in any of these leagues anymore. All right, it's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, live from here, the Wisconsin State Fair outside the Expo building. Looking at the Milwaukee Milk House. Well, it's not really the Milwaukee Milk House, it's just the Milk House. At the Milk House. Again, all kinds of different flavors of milk over there. Come on over, say hi, the big old hunk of love. Tommy Wirtz patiently waiting to get on the air, coming up here at 5 o'clock for the leadoff show powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. He'll get you ready for Brewers and Braves tonight. That one gets underway just after 6 o'clock. Up next, our Green and Gold update brought to you by the Potawatomi Sportsbook here on The Fan.